What would it be like to be wildly, unapologetically you? Welcome to my channel. I'm Kim Marie, and this is the last in a series of 12 videos that I have made to speak about something that is on the homepage of my website, kimmariecoaching.com, where I pose the question, what would your middle way look like? My work is all about helping women to find the middle way between success at the cost of selling their soul and playing small at the cost of success. So I share a dozen different ideas on that homepage of what our middle way might look like, what it might look like. One of them is to be wildly unapologetically you. And this is not an easy task, right? We are hearing a lot more about the rising feminine, the sacred feminine, and often that comes with this idea of wildness, the wildness of nature, the rawness of our being, the true expression and alignment with who we are, the capacity to be unapologetic in how we show up. Now, what has this got to do with the middle way? All right. Well, first of all, in working in this concept of the middle way, I help women define success on their terms. So this middle way between success at the cost of selling their soul and playing small at the cost of success has so much to do with what is success. And you know what? For a lot of women, when we dig deep, we start to realize that true success is largely about this ability to just be yourself. Like, if I could be myself in every moment and know that I didn't need to worry about what anybody thinks, or that what I say is going to come out wrong, and that I can be confident in my communication and get my needs met and make a difference, and all these other things I've been talking about in this entire 12 video series, that relates to this idea of being wildly unapologetically you. Now, what is wild? Wild means that it's not it's in its raw state, right? It's in its truest essence. It hasn't been, if you think of gardening, it hasn't been like changed and grafted and GMO'd or or hybridized or any of that kind of thing. It's like the original raw wild state of what it is, right? It's in the wild, untouched, and able to just be. And to be unapologetic, that is so huge. I'm guilty of it too. And I always catch myself if I'm typing an email to someone, how many I'm sorry's am I putting in there? It's like, no, we don't have to do that. Many of my clients are entrepreneurs, and how often are we seeking help and apologizing to the help that we're seeking when they're supposed to be helping us? I know myself, I've had far too much of a mothering tendency toward everyone. And even people that I hire to help and take care of me, I end up feeling like I need to take care of them. And I'm constantly learning that if something isn't right, I don't need to apologize for saying that it's not right. I can unapologetically say, no, this is what I asked for. This is not what I got. I need it to be revised, right? Or when we're showing up in our life, in our relationships, I don't need to apologize for having my boundaries. I don't need to apologize for having my feelings. I don't need to apologize for having the experience that I experience and the truth that I have, right? Just because it may be different than yours or someone else's, we do not need to apologize for having our own truth, our own vision, our own way of showing up, our own emotions. We are allowed to be who we are. Now, does this mean that we disregard everyone else? Of course not. We show up with love and kindness and understanding and compassion. But sometimes compassion and love can be fierce. It can be ferocious. It doesn't have to be lenient, where we make ourselves smaller because we're trying to take care of someone else. That is the trap that we fall into, all right? We want to show up fully, unapologetically as ourselves, while fully loving everyone in front of us to whatever capacity and degree that we can. The world needs more of that kind of love, right? I do believe in the concept of discernment, one of the virtues. And if you download in the comment or in the description, I have my balance and empowerment cards. Now, those work with 12 virtues, and one of them is discernment. And we have to be discerning about what we can and can't say in certain circumstances, right? We might feel like saying a certain thing, but we're saying it to the wrong person or at the wrong time. And we do want our communication to be effective. So when I talk about being wildly unapologetically you, I'm not talking about throwing caution to the wind and just ignoring all of the ways in which we have to navigate the world as it is. We may have our ideals of how we want to show up, and I'm such an idealist. In fact, I've been told my whole life, I'm too idealistic, I'm too romantic, I'm too dreamy, it'll never happen, blah, 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 right? We need to have dreams. But here's the other thing. That gets us into trouble, because if we start acting based on the potential of someone or something, or how we think things should be or we want them to be, then we're kind of checked out from reality of the way things actually are. So there's a combination, a discernment that we have to make to determine, okay, where am I? Who am I talking to? What's possible in this situation? How can I actually show up in this situation, right? I mean, I'm just going to use a blatant example. You can walk around your house, with no pants on if you want to, but chances are that's not going to go over well if you head to the office that way, right? I mean, it's not about just showing up however you feel like it in every moment. We do have to look at the reality of our circumstances and what is possible. But even in the parameters of what is possible, we can still be unapologetically ourselves. We can show up authentically. We can be real with every conversation that we have. We can be real with every boundary that we need to set for ourselves. We can be real with every emotion that we need to express, even if it means that we have to pause and wait until we have a moment to be by ourselves to express it, or to express it to the right person, right? We don't want to be showing up and giving ourselves up to life or to anyone else, all right? So I invite you to be wildly, unapologetically you. Stop apologizing for being who you are. Stop apologizing for having your feelings. Stop apologizing for saying no to something. You're allowed to have your own desires and longings. You're allowed to set your boundaries. You're allowed to take care of your needs. Okay, what would it look like? Tell me in the comments below. What would it look like to be wildly, unapologetically you? What do you long for? What do you wish you could be saying or doing or expressing right now? What kinds of situations do you get yourself into where you find yourself overly apologizing? And what does that look like for you? And if you have questions, I'd love to hear them. Like, give me an example. I'll share what I can. I'll respond in the comments. I just love hearing from you and engaging in the conversation and being in this space. And if you've been watching the video series from the start, thank you so much for staying with me for these 12 videos. I promise there's lots more videos to come. Check out my playlist. There's lots of other videos on various topics. Everything is woven together. All of it works together. Nothing happens in a vacuum, in isolation. All of these pieces we all need to be working on if we're going to step forward in our middle way of success and step on the path to our truth, our authentic self, and our sense of true fulfillment. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.